Hi, everybody. I am Kate Pollan. I am a coach, writer, and a deeply curious human, and this is Hello Void. This series is a collection of unscripted conversations at the intersection of psyche and uncertainty. Let's talk about what it means to be human in 2025. So I'm sitting down with coaches, creatives, healers, thinkers, feelers, anybody who wants to talk to me basically to explore what it means to be human right now, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, at this time when the world is increasingly chaotic, contradictory, and wired for overwhelm. So the goal of this series is to talk with people about how we're making sense of our inner lives, how they're learning to live alongside emotional pain and uncertainty, and what they've noticed with the people that they've worked with, people that they've interacted with. And it's because being human isn't a solo experience. It's relational. It's bittersweet. It's joy and grief, expansion and fear, doubt and wonder, all sitting side by side. So today I am sitting down with David Prorok, and I'm going to ask him to come on and talk to us. Tell me a little bit about you and why you said yes to having this conversation today.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Kate. My name is David Prorok, and if I were to give myself some labels, I would say I'm a creator and an innovator and a coach and a teacher. And I have a degree in computer science, and I worked as a software engineer at Facebook for a few years before
Awesome.
going into being a music artist full time for about 2 years, and then shifted into coaching and educating. And I came on this podcast because I wanted to connect with you and share about myself I love having conversations like this and
Me too.
being on podcasts, and I've hosted my own podcasts before, and I just love exploring and creating through questions and conversations.
You sound like a lifelong learner. Does that feel fair to say?
Yeah, definitely.
Same. So the first question I'm going to ask you, and this will be the basis of my series from here on out, is how has your understanding of what it means to be human changed in the past few years, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, otherwise?
Yeah, my understanding of what it means to be human
Yeah.
and how has it changed in the last few years.
Yep.
So my understanding of what it means to be human is that we, I don't have an answer planned out, so I'm just gonna kind of flow, I
Wing
guess.
it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so being human is about learning and growing each day and supporting one another and building systems that support one another and learning how to live with more ease and learning how to connect with others and learning how to, when connecting with others, how do you do it in like a healthy, harmonious way without becoming dependent on one another? How to validate yourself and be firm and independent, such that when you do connect with others, it's not coming from a place of need. And being human means having fun and enjoying life. And it means mm, exploring and being curious. And it means facing hard times and pain and processing pain and facing things that you're avoiding. And it means constantly evolving and changing and shifting over time and learning how to be okay with that.
I know that's a big theme for me, the learning how to be okay with that. I was thinking the other day, like when I was younger and growing up in school, they present all of these history facts and everything. And they're like, this is the way that it's going to be. And even though I'm 40 now, like someone in the past like 5 years, I've really been thinking about how facts aren't even solid. All of this truth are things that shift and evolve. And being able to look back at something and go, oh, you know what? I was wrong in how I was thinking about that. And I'm open to changing that. It's a very powerful and, in my opinion, underrated skill that humans have.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think like facts are overrated in that like if your life is based on like knowing what the facts are, you're probably being misled in the way that you're approaching life because like life is not really about facts. Like what's true is like how you feel and how the people around you are feeling and just like what's present in the present moment.
Mhm.
And history is like a collection of stories and it's not fixed. And we pass along stories to transfer like wisdom and understanding of the world. But those stories were written by somebody, and they can also be rewritten.
Yep. And then you get into the game of telephone where they have been written and told to one person who interprets it based on how they understand it, and then they pass it on. And you kind of get this game of telephone where you end up may not even have been anywhere close to what started, and yet there's multiple truths at once. So, how do you personally make space for pain or uncertainty, discomfort, any of these quote unquote bad human experiences as they come up?
Yeah, good question. Um, the first words that like flash into my mind are journaling and drawing. And then the third one was like support. So having people that I can reach out to when I'm going through something challenging and talking about it is really helpful, especially when the person like knows how to support someone. I've definitely had experiences where I've reached out to support and just ended up feeling like way worse. But yeah, so I've consciously built this support system around me of people I can reach out to. But also like journaling, super helpful. Writing down my thoughts, because like when there's pain, there's often like thoughts or stories that come along with it. So then when I just take the time to just write down all the thoughts that are going on in my head, then it's like frees me from it. And it's like, okay, I don't need to hold the story in my mind. It's on the paper. So now I can just feel what was underneath it. And then also yeah, drawing. Like I do a specific activity called breathe and scribble. That like I created myself, and it's just basically like just getting markers and just scribbling randomly, and then
I love
as I'm like going through it, like crying, I'll be like screaming and just like trying to scribble the emotions onto the paper. So yeah, that's three things that are really helpful for me.
Beautiful. I do those three things as well. And I tend to use like watercolor markers. And part of what I like, quite frankly, is that when I'm crying on it and then the water drips onto the watercolor, it kind of adds this extra texture into whatever it is that I'm creating that you can't plan it. You can't really get it that way. It comes out exactly the way that it needs to come out. And for me, it gives me like a constructive outlet like you were saying with the journaling, it gives it some place to go so that I don't have to hold on to it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Definitely. I also do I do a lot of dancing as well. So
nice.
that's another form of like feeling the feelings and then putting it into movements and yeah, letting it go. Yeah, transforming it.
Absolutely. And I was thinking back to what you were talking about with the support system, and I know something that my friends and I have had to work out as we've aged and we're learning things has been when somebody comes to you with a problem, instead of immediately jumping into problem solving, it's what kind of support do you need today? Do you need someone just to listen? Do you need a chance to get it out? Are you looking for advice? Like, how can I actually best support you in what you need in this moment? As opposed to me saying, this is what I would need, so now I'm going to give this to you. I find that it gives people a chance to actually be seen and heard the way that they need to.
Yeah, that makes sense. I saw a post on Facebook one time that I like adopted into my toolkit, which is asking somebody, giving them three options. Do you want to Wait, what is it? Like, do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to? Oh man, I wish I remembered what they were. It's like, do you want to talk about it? Do you want a distraction? Or do
Yep.
you want there's a third one, but I can't think of what it is. And I wish I could, but yeah.
Yeah. Validation, possibly. I know
Do
this
you
one.
want me to just listen? Do you want advice or do you want a distraction?
Yeah. Yeah. And all three of those, they serve a different purpose at the exact right time. Like I think that there can be some shame that's given to the idea of distraction. And I think that distractions in general, when they're used intentionally, oh, they're fantastic just to kind of help you not hold on to an emotion that you may otherwise have been grasping onto and fighting, but also refusing to let go of.
Yeah, definitely. Like the mind can tend to like get wrapped up in the stories of it, of what you're
Absolutely.
going through. So a distraction can help you break free from that story and then be like, oh, okay, I guess this isn't actually all consuming because there's fun things to do.
Yeah, other emotions do exist as well.
Hmm.
I heard the other day, and I wish that I remembered who this quote was by so that I could properly attribute it to them. Something along the lines of like emotions are reactions to our mind because so often our emotions are based on that story that we're telling ourselves inside of our head about what it all means. And getting
Hmm.
outside of that, having a way to step outside of that is just incredibly helpful and powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. People talk about like I don't want to get involved in the drama. And like drama is like that's like that story part of it. But sometimes people will like say that they don't want to be in the drama, but then still be lost in the story of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what I found to be helpful is to like connect with the breath and the physical sensations in the body, and then just notice when the mind starts getting lost in the story, and then just gently like bring it back to like what am I actually feeling right now? And then that helps to break the chains or break the loop. And then like and oftentimes people will avoid doing this
Yep.
because when you connect with the physical sensations, like oftentimes you'll start crying. And so people will use the story to avoid feeling the feelings, to avoid processing
Yep.
and crying because they think that crying is wrong in some way.
They're judging
Um,
themselves.
yeah, they're judging themselves. But like that's how you actually process and let go and move on. It's not by thinking your way out of it.
That has been a major thing for me. I am very much in the past, I've been an intellectualizer. I want to solve my emotions. I want to understand why I'm feeling a certain way. And it's only been, I would say within the past year for me personally, that it's been more of a, okay, how do I get out of my head and into my body? How do I actually accept these emotions and feel them as opposed to fighting them so much? Because that fighting is exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I was actually thinking like while you were talking, it feels good to like to try to understand the emotions.
It
Like
does.
it feels like progress, like
It does.
oh,
It
because
feels
it feels like
productive.
insight.
Hmm.
But insight isn't always the same thing as like processing and moving on.
Absolutely. I know that for me, the insight, I mean, as much as I love it, I really do love thinking. I am in my head quite often. The like the processing of it in the past for me has been, I thought I was processing it, but really what I was doing was continuing to hold on to it. And lately I've been reading more about how emotions are meant to pass through us and we're meant to experience them and feel them and then let them go. And that's how we heal and grow. And sometimes easier said than done, quite honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. The phrase that comes to mind is transforming pain into wisdom.
Oh, I love it. I heard the other day transforming pain into beauty.
Hmm.
I like both
I
of
like
those.
that.
That was actually the inspiration for starting this podcast in parts. I was listening to a podcast with Brene Brown and Susan Cain, and they were talking about just how life is bittersweet and how life is joy and pain. And when we try to kind of ignore the one side of it, it really dampens what we can experience on the other side of it too.
Can you say that again? I got distracted. I just turned on transcript on here. I don't know if you've used that before, but it's
I
pretty awesome.
I have it on all the time. I have a harder time listening, like verbally processing when people auditory processing. So I have transcripts on all the time. It helps when my brain, I'm also ADHD, so it helps when my brain like starts to go somewhere else. And then I'm like, oh wait, I do want to know exactly what was said. Hold on. I
Mm.
understand that completely. What they were kind of talking about is when we spend so much time, and I'm also going to preface this, this is my interpretation of what they were talking about. When we spend so much time trying to avoid pain, trying to avoid discomfort, trying to avoid shame, try to avoid any of these emotions that we've decided we don't want, it kind of dampens all of the emotions that we feel. And so not only do we still have those emotions because we are human and that is a part of what it means to be human, we then are not being able to fully experience the other side of that, which is all of the intense joy and love and all of the quote unquote good feelings that can be a part of life too.
Yeah, totally. It's almost like putting on blinders, and then you're like restricting your life to like a narrow band.
Hmm.
And so like you're blocking out all the pain and all the sorrow, but then you're also blocking out all the love and all the joy, and you're trying to
Exactly.
live your life on this narrow band. And it's like, okay, wake up, I'm gonna shower, I'm gonna go to the store, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make sure I don't experience anything.
Hmm. Exactly. Because that's what's safe.
Yeah. On the other hand, if you learn the skills to process the pain and the sorrow, it's almost like carving out a cavern within yourself.
It
And
is.
then once you carve out that cavern, you can fill the empty space with love and joy.
You have more capacity for it. Absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's it's also like on an individual basis, but also in like supporting others. So if you're like personally somebody that blocks out pain and blocks out love when you're trying to support somebody else, they're gonna feel like totally unseen. Whereas if you have created that space within yourself to hold your own emotions and your own feelings and your own experiences with compassion and love, then you're more able to do that for others as well.
Absolutely. I know a lot of times when people get triggered by something that's said, they think it means it's a topic that needs to be avoided, that it's not something to be talked about. And my personal opinion is that we can actually use those triggers and we can learn from them. And so I know for me, with the people that I work with and the people that I talk with, I do sometimes get triggered. I would be lying if I said there weren't certain things that come up that hit me a certain way. And now I have the capacity and the space to be able to A, notice that, because awareness is the very first step to this. And then B, get curious about it. Be like, okay, what is this actually telling me that maybe I could learn from about this? And by doing that, it opens up more of the space for me. So instead of this conversation that somebody else is having with me, then becoming about me and my triggers and how I'm processing it, I'm able to kind of use that to turn it around and say, okay, well, this is what's coming up for me. And now I'm able to go back and actually listen to you the way that I would want to be listened to if the roles were reversed.
Mm, yeah, totally. Yeah, we tend to, mm, yeah, like we were talking about creating the stories. Like when we create these stories, it's about like avoiding feeling what's actually present and then kind of like projecting it onto other people and then
Hmm.
being like, it's because this person said this, and if they just did this or they felt this way, like they shouldn't have felt this way. And like it's all
Hmm.
just this stuff is just illusion like
It is.
and you have to like learn how to like get to the root of it and feel what's actually present.
Yeah. And for me, a part of that is like I'm trying to think of the best way to word this, alleviating some of the judgment that I want to cast upon myself or upon others. I'm also not clear of that. I am, in fact, still human. So,
Yeah, totally. I feel like it's a good time to mention that I've been like working with a tool. So I created a tool that helps with like specifically this, and it's called RAIN, RAIN GPT.
okay.
And So it's a tool and it uses an AI. So it's on ChatGPT and it guides you step by step through the RAIN process, which is recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. So it's like what you were just talking about. Like first you're recognizing what's present, what are you feeling, what emotions are there, what physical sensations are there, but also like what are the thoughts, what are the stories, what are the beliefs.
Stories. Yep.
And then the second step is allow. So like instead of trying to like figure it out or change anything or push it away or like hold it close, you just allow for a moment, like a moment of pause and being like, okay, I recognize all this and I allow it to be here. And then once you allow it to be there, then you investigate it. So you can, and so this tool is really helpful because it asks like really, really sharp questions
It's
that help
exciting.
you to like go deeper and like really understand like just the first question that comes to my mind right now is like, when was the first time that you felt this way? So that's a good question to ask. And then the fourth step is nurture, which is about giving yourself the love and compassion that you need. And so it's all like self-contained. It's all like internal. It doesn't matter what anyone else has said or done.
Mhm.
You don't need anyone else to do anything or to act a certain way. It's just processing what is within you, which you have full control over, um, and giving yourself the love and compassion that you need. So like, for example, in a breakup, people will feel like disconnected or rejected and be like, I feel like they need this person to say blank, to say that they're sorry or to
Yep.
talk to me. Um, but if you can learn how to just say it to yourself, just tell yourself the things that like you think if you can really understand what you need to hear, you can say it to yourself. And that has just as much, if not more, of a healing and soothing effect than if you were to actually hear it from this other person, which you probably never will.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's the uncertainty of it. I think as humans, we want to control so much. We want to control the outcomes of things. And we think that the only way to be okay is if we can control whatever this external factor is. And when we realize that when there's something like that we're unhappy with in our external world, when we're able to turn inside and actually look at that, that I'm going to say solves a lot of problems just for lack of better terminology to put out there with that. But when we can get curious about what's going on inside, we can actually learn from it. And then, like, not only can we tell ourselves these things, but we're actually able to give them to ourselves. So maybe what I needed in that moment was validation. And so I can validate myself with what I'm thinking. Like, it's okay to feel this. This is a human experience. This is emotion. I am not my sadness. I am not my thoughts. I'm that awareness that's behind them.
Hmm. Exactly.
I love that. I have studied Tara Brach a lot. She's where I had first heard about the rain concept and everything. I'm very excited to check out that tool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I use it a lot of times. And yeah, it's based on Tara Brach's teachings. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
And I think about her, she has a book, Radical Acceptance, and I think about that phrase so often because it is really radical to be able to accept whatever the present moment contains, even if it's not what you want, even if it's not what you like, even if it's not what you would choose, if you ultimately could choose still being present with it is very radical. I think especially in 2025.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And acceptance leads you to peace.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Peace
Because
that
if you,
is not easily disturbed.
hmm yeah. There's a quote that I like that says, if you can be aware, if you can be aware of what's present and accept it, you are free.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an amazing conversation in my very unbiased and humble opinion. And I will make sure to share that link inside the show notes. So for anybody who wants to check it out, I know I will be checking it out. Is there, how do people reach you if they want to learn more about what you do?
hmm yeah, so a couple places to go. Like on a personal level. Well, let me start with this. On my business website is exponentialenlightenment.com.
Perfect.
But you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook, David Prorok. And I am, yeah, that's where you can go to learn more. Yeah. Mhm.
Fantastic. And you had mentioned a meditation to me when we were talking before. Is there a meditation you want to share with listeners?
Yeah, I will share it. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on the Exponential Enlightenment YouTube channel. And it's called The Wheel Within. And
Beautiful.
what this meditation does is it's like a guided meditation that walks through the 12 links of dependent origination, which is essentially how suffering arises and passes. And so it's very regulating for the nervous system, and kind of it's almost like 12 opportunities to alleviate your suffering and like break the chains of that's keeping you like looping. And it's led by a good friend of mine, Treya Magdalena. So she has a very soothing voice, guiding through this the wheel within. And essentially, it's like where we can get stuck on this wheel, but if you can step off of the wheel and see it for what it is, then you can choose to engage with it. Like when you step back on, it's more in a more empowered perspective. I don't like how I said that, but like
Okay,
it's
I
about
think I
stepping off the
understand.
wheel and seeing it. Then you have more freedom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, once we can like kind of step outside of the story, step outside of the attachment that we have to it, we're able to, I'm gonna say, be a little bit more objective, maybe not completely, but we have a little bit more distance to it. So it makes it easier to process and choose when to engage with it. And when you
hmm
know that you need to like, okay, I'm overwhelmed in this moment, it may not be the best moment for me to step onto that wheel again. And that's okay.
hmm
Well, great. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. I really have loved this conversation. For anybody else who's listening, if you want to connect with me, find out more about my coaching services or anything along those lines, you can find me at followthedopamine.life, on Instagram at followthedopamine.life, and over on Substack at follow the dopamine. And I will put all of these links and everything that we have shared in the show notes. And if this conversation sparks something in you and you want to explore what it means to be human with me, like in all of its bittersweet mess and beauty, I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, until next time, thanks for being here and thanks for being you.
Thank you.